It is really a fun way to explore how to change product image colors using CSS based on which color label has been selected by the user. You can see this kind of product image color changes on many e-commerce websites. Hello friends, welcome to Smash the Share. I am Amit Kumar, and in this video we are going to create an awesome image color changer with just pure CSS without writing a single line of JavaScript. So let's go ahead and get started. Right inside this body element, I'm gonna go ahead and create a section element with a class of container. Now this container class will have another div element with a class of product, which will finally contain our image, and it will have a source attribute and an alt attribute. Now give it a product as a alt attribute, but for the source we are going to use a png image. And if you look at this link, which is pngimg.com, I am using this product image. So copy this link from here and paste it inside the source attribute. Now if you want to use this same product, you can find the link inside the description and you can use this image. Alright, now press Ctrl space plus enter. Now you're gonna see we have created a div with a class of product, and inside it we have our image. Now my friends, let's hit save and click on the live preview, and you're gonna see the live preview of our index.html file. That's great. Now my friends, we need some input radio buttons so that we can provide different color options for our product image, and based on which input radio is currently selected, we want to apply the color on the product image. So we have to use input radio buttons with the combination of label. So let's go ahead and do that. Create an input with a type of radio. Also we need to use name, and name should be the same for all the input elements, and also we need to have an id attribute. So I am giving it id of color 1 2 3 4 if I am using 4 input elements. So let's multiply it by 4, and we're gonna generate 4 different input elements with different IDs. Great. Now we need to create 4 label elements for each of these input elements. So what we can do here is that we can create a div with a class of product nav, and inside here we can create label with a 4 attribute of color 1 2 3 4, and we need 4 label elements. So now we have 4 label elements for each of these input elements, and keep in mind that these 4 attributes should exactly match with this id attribute. Alright, now my friends, let's hit save and let's undo, and inside here I want to have something like this, label 1 2 3 4, so that I can show you why we need this id and 4 attribute same. So when I click any of these labels, you're gonna see its relevant input is being selected, and this is very important. So let's hit undo and again expand the abbreviation. Now you're gonna see we have these labels because we don't want to see the label 1 2 3 4 on the screen. Since we are not using JavaScript, we are relying on the CSS checked pseudo selector to kind of change the color of our product based on which label is currently being targeted. So let's go ahead and move to the CSS file, and for now I'm gonna split these windows like this so that I can write the style and you can see the preview at the same time. Now my friends, let's go ahead and write this selector root, and inside here let's set its box sizing to border box, and let's go ahead and target the universal selector with after and before pseudo element selectors. Inside here, let's create another property, box sizing, and set it to inherit. It's going to inherit the box sizing from the root. And now let's set its margin to 0. Also padding should be 0. Now next thing that we want to do here is that we kind of make the image responsive, so and also center it. So I can go ahead and target the image. I can say product img and set its max width to 100%. Also its min width should be 20 rems, and hit save and target the container element. So I can say product container and set its display to grid and place items center. Also its height should be 100 vh and width should be 100 vw, and hit save. Now you're gonna see it's going to center both the input elements, labels, and the image. Now what we need to do here is that we need to kind of initially select the first radio button. So I can apply here checked checked attribute and say hidden initially. Okay, so we want to hide all the input elements initially, so let's go ahead and apply hidden attribute on all the radio input buttons. Now you're gonna see they are hidden. Great. So friends, let's move to the CSS once again and start writing styles for the labels so that we can see them, and then we are going to apply different color for each of these labels. So I can say product nav and then label. Let's set its display property to inline block and width should be 5 vmax, height should also be 5 vmax, and let's go ahead and give it a background color so that we can see HSL 30, 50% and 75%. Hit save. Now you're gonna see square boxes. We want to make them circular, so I can apply border radius 50%, and I want to also apply a white border along with some box shadow. So I can say box shadow, create a border of 0.5 amps, and also let's give it 0.5 amps of offset for the shadows. Let's give it 1 amps of blur with 0.15 amps of negative spread, and hit save. Now you're gonna see something like this. Alright, now my friends, we need some spacing between these labels. So I can say product nav label plus label, and right inside here we can say margin left 1.5 amps, and it should work. Great. You can see that I haven't applied any color, so let's go ahead and apply a color to this box shadow. Let's bring this to its on line, and I can say RGBA 0, 0, 0 and 0.25. Maybe this should work. Yeah, this is looking nice. Now my friends, let's go ahead and apply a background color. So right inside this container, or we can apply a background color, and I can say HSL. Let's go with the same background color. Now we need to have different color for each of these labels so that we can select different colors for our product image and the background. So let's go ahead and do that. Now target the product nav, and inside that we want to look for the label element. So first label element, I can say label nth of type and just select the first element. You also don't need to use this direct descendant. We can say background color should be HSL, and this should be same as 30%, 50%, 30, 50% and 75%, right? This is for the first label. For the all of the other labels, we can copy this selector or declaration and paste it 4 times. Great. Change these numbers to 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, you need to change these hue values. So let's add 90 to each of these numbers incrementally. So I can say 120, 210 and 300. Hit save. Now you're gonna see different color for each of these labels. Great. Now what I want is that when I hover my mouse over, I want to change this cursor to pointer. So I can say cursor pointer. Now it's gonna change to a hand pointer. Great. Now what I want here is that when I click on these labels, I want to change the background color along with the product color. So how we can do this? First of all, let's go ahead and create a layer or background layer that can be blended with this image. So if you see inside this index.html file, we have this product, right? So what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna target the product class, and by using its after pseudo element selector, I want to create a background layer. So right after the container, I can say product and target its after and create a background layer by using the content generator. So empty content, and I can say its position should be absolute, its top value should be 0, right should be 0, bottom should be 0, and left should also be 0, so that it fills the entire viewport. And you also need to set a background color. So I can say background color should be HSL, and this should be same as our label color, the currently selected label color. So I can say 30, 50% and 75%. Hit save. Now you're gonna see that a layer has been created and the image is hidden behind this layer. You can check this by saying opacity 0.5. Great. Now we need to bring these labels to the top of this layer. So to do that, what I'm gonna do here is that right before this selector, I can say product nav and just set its position to relative. Now they are brought to the top. Now what I want here is that when I check or click on this label, I want to blend this layer with the product image behind this layer. So what I can say here is that when the first input is selected, which means this one, color 1 is selected by using check pseudo selector. What I want is that I want to find its sibling selector, which is the product after, which is the background layer. I want to change its background layer. So currently it's this one, right, that we have applied to this label, and these are the same for the background and the label. For now, let's go ahead and apply it individually and hit save. Also, what I want here is that I want to kind of apply a blend mode. So I can say Mix-Blend-Mode and set it to hue. Oops, we need to apply this to our layer. So inside this product layer, just apply this Mix-Blend-Mode. Great. Now you're gonna see that when this layer is label is checked, the product layer color has been changed by using the mix blend mode. Right, now let's go ahead and do one thing. Simply copy this selector from here or cut it and delete everything from here, hit save, and now as you can see that we need the label color and the background color and the product color to be same. So what we can do here is that we can simply go ahead and paste that checked selector right after the label selector for each of these labels, like this. And what you need to do here is that you need to kind of change these numbers to color 1, 2, 3, 4 and hit save. Now when you go ahead and click on these labels, you're gonna notice that product color along with the background color has been automatically changed, or it is automatically changing. And it is really a cool trick without using JavaScript. So my friends, what I want to say here is that when you click on these labels, you're gonna notice that you are not getting any kind of visual feedback whether which element is currently targeted. So we can do that by simply using this selector, where let's copy this one, this entire selector, and paste it right there. What I want to do here is that I want to target the product nav, and I want to find the label element inside it, and if the first radio button is targeted, I want to change the visual appearance of the first input element, and I can say transform and scale it by 1.2 and hit save. So let's target this first element, and you're gonna see that it has been scaled, and we can see that it is currently selected. And let's do the same for all of the others. Just copy this selector and let's put a comma and paste it right after that 4 times, and change these numbers to 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Great. Now let's go ahead, and you're gonna notice that we have missed something, that is this one. We also need to change these numbers from here and hit save. Now when you click on these labels, you're gonna see how they are giving us the visual feedback. Now my friends, they are not transitioning smoothly, so we can do so by going to the label selector. So let's go to the label, this one, and apply a transition. So I can say transition 200 milliseconds, all is in out. You could say just transition transform, but we are also going to transition our background and other properties. That's why I'm using the all here. Now my friends, let's go ahead and try to kind of change the colors to match the product color when it is targeted. So what we can do here is that we can target each of these labels individually and change their colors. In this case, we want to change the lightness, right? So let's go ahead and select this and copy this selector and say when color 1 is checked, and I want to target its sibling, which is product nav, and let's paste the selector that we have copied and delete the product nav from here, and I want to target this first label and just change its background color. So Let's copy the background color of the first input label and simply go ahead and change its lightness to kind of 45%. Now hit save. Now you're gonna see that when this is targeted, it is matching the color with the product color kind of closely. You could also increase the saturation by 20%, so it will look much better. Great. Now my friends, let's go ahead and copy this 4 times and change this number to 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, and then just go ahead and change these hues. So second one is 120, 210 and 300, and that's it. So now let's go ahead and click on this. Great. So now my friends, we have done it without using JavaScript. We are kind of using the product color changer, or we are kind of changing the product color without using JavaScript with simple CSS. Now this CSS code may looks a little messy, but I think this can be improved by using the CSS variables. So there is always a room for the improvement, so we can make we can kind of refactor this code by using the CSS variables. But I think this video is going to be a little longer if I am going to refactor this code inside this video. So what I will do is that I will try to create another video where we are going to refactor this code and see how we can use CSS variable to make it much more customizable. So I think this is it, and let's see whether it is responsive. Oh my goodness, now you're gonna see that we have a very large labels. Let's go ahead and fix this. Let's use, instead of 5 vmax, let's go with 5 vmin and hit save. Oops, 5 vmin, hit save. Now this is looking better, and instead of scaling it by 1.2, let's scale it by 1.3 when it is checked, and let's go ahead and increase the margin by 2.5 amps, and let's see what else we can fix. Let's go ahead and resize this. Okay, so what else we can fix here is that the padding. So let's go ahead and go to the product. Let's target the container instead and say padding 2.5 rems from each of the sides and 0 from top and bottom, and hit save. Now it will look something like this. Alright, so now my friends, I hope you like this video tutorial, and if you do like this, please go ahead and like this video and comment your thoughts in the comment section, and please consider subscribing the channel if you like the content and want to see much more content like this. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon in my next video. Bye.